Hey everyone! Thanks for stopping by for another Phoenix and Chief episode. I'm your host, Sergeant Stanford. General Walker and Chief Chaddock, aka your Phoenix and the Chief, have a quick message before we head to the MWR and the gym. What's going on, General Walker?
Hey, I'd like to start by giving everybody a heads up on what's going on with COVID. You know, we got a couple of troop movements in, and we screened them, and we found that a couple people popped positive. So those cats have been isolated, and as we continue to accept forces, each of those cohorts of people becomes a separate quarantine within the entire quarantine area. I'd just like to emphasize that this is the time where it's so important that we really respect the protocols that we have with the quarantine and isolation. We have the virus on the base, and we have it appropriately isolated. But to keep it that way, that means that everybody has to follow the protocols that we have in place. If you're in the general population of the base, that means you stay out of the quarantine and isolation areas. It's all really simple. It just takes a little bit of individual discipline to follow the rules here, and we'll push through this together.
And right now, just so everybody's clear on this, we are not shutting down MWR, the gym, or DFAC seating unless somebody in the general population, that means outside the quarantine, contracts and we determine that they are positive for COVID. So continue to do your part for hand sanitization, spacing between your fellow airmen, soldiers, and Marines, and clean up after yourself a little bit and wipe down places with some Clorox wipes or some bleach in those areas and cleaning your equipment at the gym. Speaking of MWR and the gym boss, why don't we stroll on over and see what our soldiers, Marines, and airmen have been doing?
Sweet, let's roll. Awesome. Who are we here with?
Tech Sergeant Haas.
From?
Stationed at Davis-Monthan, originally from Wisconsin.
Okay, so I am surrounded by cheeseheads today, and we are in the
Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Center.
We're in the MWR shelter. So to recap our guidelines on COVID, we've been really successful on PSAB on preventing the spread of any infectious disease, whether it's influenza alpha, the common cold, or the COVID. And the reason why we've been successful at that is because we've taken really seriously our mitigation measures and our social distancing measures. And social distancing does not mean what, Command Chief?
It does not mean social isolation. So what we're saying is, hey, keep your 6-foot bubble, pretend it's impenetrable. Make sure you're washing your hands or you're using some type of hand sanitizer above 60% alcohol. If you're touching dirty things, again, wash your hands, making sure you're not touching your nose, your face. And all of these things have been mitigation efforts, and it's kept us all safe and clean right now. Over to you.
All right, so let's get into the ones and eaches of what we're talking about today. Go ahead.
All right, so once it kicked off, what we implemented was deep cleans twice a day. So from 3 to 4 in the afternoon and 3 to 4 in the morning, we shut down and sanitize everything that someone could possibly touch.
Great.
We've actually had a lot of volunteers stay and help with that. In return, we allow them to stay for the rest of the hour and kind of have a little private morale session. But that has been proven successful so far.
That's a pretty good incentive to help do some cleanup. Make sure you sanitize some items and then get a little private time and in the NWR. So anybody that's willing to help out, connect with Sergeant Haas and her crew, and they'll plug you into taking care of not just yourself in the NWR, but the rest of the team PSAB.
And that also goes to another tenet, and that's just help out. Find places where you can help out. It doesn't have to be in your work center. It doesn't even have to be in your unit. You can find places to help out, whether it's the HVAC guys or the vehicle maintenance guys or the MWR folks. Help out, pitch in. We have efforts to give, and you'll probably learn something. It'll be a good experience.
Some other things that we did is we took 2.5 weeks where we just stopped. We did a survey to see what everybody was interested in, and we've now we're in about week 2 of implementing all of their requests. A lot of it was game shows, and those have been successful thus far. The numbers are starting to go back up. We kind of went down by 2,000 right away, but I think people are starting to creep back out. We're still open.
That's great.
Hey, how about that? Look at that as an action item. You, as an airman or a soldier, have provided actionable feedback on what you wanted, what you didn't like, and they took that information and they've kind of packaged it up and redistributed it back to you so that you will have the services, the games, the entertainment, the morale things that are hitting on your buttons and your cylinders so that this place is getting used more often. So I would encourage you to make sure that you're talking about the issues, your concerns, and you're feeding them to the right conduits. If you're subscribing to things, potentially a social media platform that may or may not get seen, it's not really going to help out team members though in PSAB, but if you bring it to the right staff, we can always make sure things get solved.
You know, I've been trying to read minds. I've been trying to read my wife's mind for years, and I have consistently failed. The same goes for you guys. I can guarantee you 100% of the things, the feedback that I do not receive, I will not action. And when I say I, it's not me personally, it's the organization. So take some responsibility at the personal level for providing that feedback. Take some responsibility for your own morale, welfare, and recreation, and we will make the base better for everybody.
That's a big pull. Who we got here? Who is this? Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what you do.
I'm A1C Fitzgerald, stationed at Minot Air Force Base, but originally from Kentucky. And I'm one of the workers here at the MWR, help run all the events as well as sell our NAF resale, which is always up and running.
Name some products on your NAF resale.
So we have some T-shirts, some wing morale patches, Bang energy drinks, and a bunch of different types of chips as well.
Fitz, you've been here how long with us?
Since the end of October.
And you haven't been working the whole time inside the MWR, correct?
No, sir. I was originally at the fitness center.
At the fitness center, correct. So how have you seen this place change in the NWR facility?
It has changed dramatically. So whether it's refrigerators to give cold water to our constituents or more games, more events taking place.
Can you tell us some of the events that y'all have planned coming up to get people out and get people interacting?
We have a tug of war tournament coming up, cornhole, pool, foosball. We have a talent show coming up on May 16th, Jeopardy coming up next month, more as well that are posted all throughout the MWR as well throughout the base. Feel free to come sign up anytime. We have sign-up sheets at the MWR.
Hey, let's play a little game of Jeopardy right here. Command Chief, who was the first Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force?
That will be Paul Airy for 200, Alex.
Okay, and what was he famous for?
He was famous for not only being the first Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, but also he was one of the people subjected to the Bataan Death March.
So there you go, folks. Getting Chief Chaddock on your Jeopardy team is going to be a recipe for success.
Potentially a lose-lose situation. Don't tap me in.
So we're gonna trek through the sand and the dust over to the fitness center. We'll sign off for just a second.
So, hey, we've just transitioned from the MWR over to the fitness center. We got a couple of airmen and NCOs standing here, so we're going to allow them to introduce themselves, tell us who you are and what base you're from, please.
A1C Bumpus, stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina.
I'm A1C Peraza at Seymour Johnson, North Carolina.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Marin. I'm from Ellsworth, South Dakota.
Ooh, I was about to say, if you were from Seymour, nobody's at Seymour
Nobody
anymore.
is Seymour. All right, so what do you guys got to talk about here today?
Well, we're just going to talk about the different events that we still have going on. Even though we have the social distancing in place right now, we still have some incentives and things to get people into the fitness center while still keeping that social distancing in mind. We have the Strongest on PSAB, so that's basically each individual on their own time can come in and try to get on the board. The goal is to just squat, bench press, or deadlift the highest out of anybody, and by the end of the month, if you are the top person in the respective category, then you get a certificate and a pat on the back, and that's that.
And bragging rights.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. How are the numbers looking? Have they been pretty stable? People are coming to the gym.
Yes, sir. So there's not a whole lot to do here, so the gym is probably one of the top places that everybody comes. So our numbers are probably average of 7,000 is the head count at the end of the week. So we have probably about 1,000 customers average every day.
Okay, and we've also made some efforts to get a prison gym out to the folks who are in quarantine, and that quarantine population is going to grow. So if you see some of the equipment that was here and is no longer here, that's going to be part of the answer, is because we got to make sure that those cats who are going through their 14-day quarantine aren't just sitting out there in the sand dunes. that they actually have the opportunity to work out to pass that 14 days of quarantine.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of fitness distribution. So if you're talking about your mental and your physical and emotional well-being, if you're in a tent for 14 days, we need to make sure that you're still staying fit and healthy. So we've kind of distributed a little bit of that equipment. So maintain your ability to just continue to share our equipment. We only got so much to go around, and thanks for doing that for us.
And I'll tell you another thing, Chief. So
What's that, sir?
Think back to when you and I were young pups in the Air Force. Well, the gyms were nothing like they are now, and nobody went to them.
Absolutely. You would go to the gym and all you had was dumbbells or maybe a pull-up bar. I mean, you got all this fancy equipment. You got ellipticals and treadmills and this darn arc thing that will kick your butt.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. The culture of the United States Air Force has really changed over the last 25 years, and we've gotten a lot healthier. Certainly, the tribe that I come from, the fighter pilot community, is a lot healthier than what we were 25 years ago, and there's nothing but goodness there. We use the gym a lot more, and it's become a part of our life, whereas before it was really not.
Absolutely. We're trying to get to where we can bake this into your daily duty schedule so that you will, as an airman, become more fit and healthy, so that you know, hey, at this certain time in this window of my day or this window of my week, I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to go take care of myself. I'm going to hydrate, get on an elliptical, maybe lift something heavy, put something heavy down, maybe pick up something heavier, because I'm looking at these three fitness experts that are standing here in front of me from the EFSS squadron, and they've got these big, huge smiles. So I know that they've been working out here while they've been taking care of our patrons.
Thanks for what you guys are doing. I know there's been some turbulent times here, and with the Stop Forward movement and with some of the ambiguity that's going on with when we're going to get out of here and when our replacements are going to get in, and thanks for keeping your chins up and continuing to serve the soldiers and airmen of Prince Sultan Air Base.
Hey, and if you could do us, both me and the boss, a favor, if you see somebody walking with their head down and they seem a little slumped over, be a good wingman, be a good battle buddy, make sure you just engage them with a friendly hello, hey, how are you doing, and actually pause for a moment so that they can tell you how they're doing, and just continue to lift people's spirits. Hey, it's all about us being one team. We're all in the same life raft. We're asking that you don't take a screwdriver to the side of it.
And as always, Man in the Sand questions are always welcome. And stay safe and sane, PSAB. You stay sandy.
Wow, he just took my line. Thanks so much for letting us stop by, guys. Everyone appreciates what y'all do to keep the gym open. Stay tuned for next episode, May 13th. Until then, stay safe and stay sandy.